Forced to take care of a baby that I'm pretty sure isn't mine. I was informed by one of my friends/coworkers, who also happens to be married to a girl who works with my wife Jane, about his wife's suspicions about something going on between my wife and a guy named Ryan, around a year ago. I was shocked to hear this news. He and she were growing uncomfortably close, spending a disproportionate amount of time alone behind closed doors despite the fact that they did not work together, and their interactions were causing murmurs to spread across their office. The first time I questioned my wife about her relationship with Ryan, she said that he was her work spouse and that their friendship was totally platonic. I conveyed my dissatisfaction with the way their friendship sounded and recommended that they spend less time together as a result of my concerns. She agreed, and the dialogue came to an end at that point. We discovered out she was pregnant a few months later, after she had given birth. We were ecstatic at the idea of becoming parents for the first time. Ryan and I finally met at a baby shower, and I got a good look at each other. During her pregnancy, my wife and I were arguably the happiest we'd ever been in our whole lives together. Her son was born 3 months ago, and she is now a mother of 2. Not long after, I realized that the newborn bore no resemblance to any of my siblings or myself. Jane and I both have light hair, a pale complexion, and blue eyes, which are similar to each other. Despite this, our child is many shades darker than either of us, and he or she has brown eyes, dark hair, and, curiously enough, a chin deformity. Ryan has each and every one of these attributes as well. I've been trying to find out who my father is for the last 3 months, and it's driving me nuts. Many of our friends and family members who have seen the baby have remarked on how much he resembles our son and daughter. When I or anybody else has remarked on how strange he seems to be with us, Jane has merely giggled and put it up to heredity being finicky on the subject. The thought of her cheating on me was too much for me to handle this week, so I confided in Jane and inquired as to whether there was any potential that the kid wasn't mine. When I informed her that I wanted a paternity test for peace of mind, she became enraged and threatened to divorce me if I didn't take her up on her offer to testify. Rather of being convinced by her overblown reaction, I sought aid from another sub, who provided me with a link to a paper that demonstrated that, unless it was due to a genetic mutation, her child did not come from the 2 of us. I sent it to her through email, and she ultimately acknowledged to having an affair, although Jane has assured me that everything between her and Ryan has been resolved, and despite her pleas to try to live as a family of 3, I've reached out to legal counsel immediately. It seems that she is taking advantage of the fact that I am fond of children. But, although I've built a bond with her son, whom I love, raising another man's kid with my soon-to-be ex-wife is not something I'd want to do at this point in my life. We'll be getting a paternity test done soon, but neither Jane nor I are expecting it to be a positive result. The problem is that Jane has requested me to continue to care her child, which I have agreed to do. Jane had just returned to work after maternity leave, and I had planned to use up all of my vacation time for the year to care for the baby between the end of Jane's maternity leave and the arrival of Jane's mother, who had flown in from California to care for the baby. As a result, I now have to cope with the constant reminder of my wife's infidelity. Naturally, it is not the baby's fault, but I cannot express how much I dread the prospect of spending the next 7 weeks bonding with this child. Everything is in disarray. I never saw myself in this situation, and I'm concerned that even if the paternity test results in a negative result, I'll still be held financially and legally responsible for the kid in question. Ryan, according to my wife, is looking to get out of the entire situation. I'm at a loss for what to do at this point, but I do know that I loathe the idea of being responsible for this kid, which makes me feel much worse than I already do while already suffering from depression. Story 2. GF admits to emotional cheating but denies physical cheating. My girlfriend of 3 years, who is 26 years old, started talking a lot about this guy at her college while she was in her freshman year. We are graduate business students studying in the United States of America, USA. She and him were participating in sports, and I was amazed by how often he was mentioned. After a night out, she was messaging someone else while driving with me to the event, and she laughed in a flirtatious way. I had a feeling something wasn't quite right, so I went to find out who it was. Despite the fact that she said it was a group talk, I only saw one photograph, and later confirmed it was him. She then changed the password on her phone, which I had always openly known. She informed me that she had numerous visitors over to our home after a party she had hosted while I was abroad, which later turned out to be a lie, see later. I was skeptical, and a few weeks later, after a party, a number of my friends contacted me to say they'd seen her acting inappropriately with this particular gentleman. It never happened when I was there, although there were flirty touches and embraces, as well as eye contact, but never kissing. My girlfriend had been quite inebriated at the time, and when I confronted her about it later, She said she couldn't recall what had happened but didn't deny it had happened. I was able to get access to her Facebook profile and learned that she had been communicating with him on a regular basis. Clearly, I'm attempting to create a favorable impression on him. Providing him with food, speaking with him about video games he loves, and so on and so forth. Attempting to start with highly charged texts, to which he was either too timid or stupid to respond in kind, while at a party where she hadn't responded to a hot image I'd sent, in response to her begging me for when she got home, because she didn't want anyone to see was frustrating. We are open-minded, have previously had, and have included fantasies of other men and females into our life. She later claimed that this was done to titillate me, but why not tell me the whole truth about yourself? I only found out because someone lied to me. Females had flirted with her in the past, and she'd even made up details about her flirting with them, which I found to be rather disturbing. What's the point of keeping it a secret? In response to my questions, she walked to the restroom and deleted the messages from her phone. I don't have the energy to go into detail about all of the discussions and conflicts we've had recently. Even after 2 months, I still felt as though I hadn't heard the whole truth. Afterwards, she admits that she had gone over to this guy's place and invited him over to ours while I was not there. I only found out about it way later after friends caught her flirting with him and I checked her phone. His response was no, she alleges, and she messaged him to investigate. He responded with a yes or no response, which I received through email. She also acknowledges that skinny diving in the sea with the sports team earlier that fateful night was more poisonous because she had requested him to assist her swim and he had gone on his back, and then he had spun around so that they were in the water in a pseudo-missionary fashion for a few seconds was more poisonous, just in her thong. She also claims that while intoxicated, she had the desire to kiss him but refrained from doing so. Moreover, I refrained from doing so because I believed that my girlfriend didn't deserve this. She also said that he had attempted to kiss her 2 weeks before, but that she had refused since she was already involved with another man. Even as I type this, I feel like a fool for believing that nothing had happened between them, but she comes off as quite believable in this situation. She has been by my side through my sadness and has allowed me to remain single as she awaits my choice on whether or not to marry her. I am aware that she cares about me and is doing all she can to save our relationship. However, despite the fact that I'm entirely honest with her and have admitted to having slept with other people, she still wants to live with me. I've had a number of long-term girlfriends throughout my life, but this one was the one I really wanted to spend the rest of my life with, and she still feels the same way about herself. That is one of the things that makes this so challenging. I want to have faith in her and put my trust in her ability to succeed. And, believe me when I say that she has changed and will never lie to me again, which was always the biggest deal breaker for me in the first place. I had even said that I would tolerate adultery before lying on purpose, so this is more of a smack in the face than anything else. Other than that, I'm not sure what happened between them. In many ways, I don't care nearly as much as I am hurt by the deception and treachery that has occurred.